What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade Fox and I have opinions that need to be heard. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about why LGBT movies are bad, why they are made poorly, why the stories suck, and the problem with representation, because there's a few of them. I feel like this video is going to be more complex than I necessarily want it to be, and on top of that, I'm very scatterbrained. So we'll just see if we can just power right on through this thing. I did not make a review about it when it initially came out, but Happiest season was the LGBT rom-com of 2020, right? This was supposed to be our, love and basketball, but during jingle jangle times. And I am using this movie as an example. It's not going to be like a fully fleshed out review or anything. I don't expect LGBT movies to be good, but I do expect them to be responsible. Basically saying, I like bad movies. I think that there's room for there to be LGBT movies that are bad, that are poorly written. We make space for Tyler Perry films because we have movies like Moonlight. We have movies, like If Beale Street Could Talk. So I think that we are allowed to have a variety of LGBT movies to choose from. We don't. There's quite a scarcity. So I think that's why we tend to be a little bit more critical of the movies that we do have. But on the other side of that, you can't tell me that this movie is supposed to be like, here you go. Here's a movie with LGBTQIA plus leads living that LGBTQIA plus life. Here you go. This movie's for you guys. Enjoy. You can't hand me a movie like that and then expect me to not dissect it, knowing that I am the demographic that this movie is for, knowing that I am the person that these characters are supposedly modeled after. And that's the problem, in my opinion, with representation. There's no movie on the planet that can be representation for everybody. We already know that, which is why I believe representation is something that you choose. You choose what movies and what shows are your representation. The L Word, for example, huge show, big ass show. It's a trending topic. It will forever be a trending topic amongst the L's of the community. Was this show my representation? No, because I didn't have an asymmetrical bang and a house with no job in LA. In the areas in the L Word where that could have been, it wasn't. With Tasha's character, Tasha might as well have been a white woman. There was literally nothing written about that character that screamed, Tasha is a black woman. And because of that, I feel that Tasha and Alice, even though I love their relationship, I love the chemistry, I like them together, I thought they were cute, that relationship could have meant more to the community had it shed light and inserted Tasha's culture into that relationship. That's the other thing about creating characters that are supposed to represent us. Whoever is writing these characters, who is producing these projects, who is creating these projects, I don't know their proximity to the culture, my culture. I don't know if they're within my community at all. I don't even know how they engage with my community. And all of that has to do with the way that these characters are literally put onto the screen. And so with me not knowing all of that, to be told that this is supposed to be my representation, this is supposed to be you, do you see yourself? Like, there's something about that doesn't quite sit right with me. I saw criticisms about Happiest season, basically saying that, well, you knew what the movie was before it came out. Or no, you knew what the movie was when you watched it. You knew what it was going to be about when you clicked on it, so you can't be mad at what you saw because it's basically what you knew you were going to see. Duh, I knew what I was getting into before I watched it. It doesn't change the fact that my criticisms are valid, especially as someone who is a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And then number two, just because I know what I'm walking into doesn't mean that it can't be bad. Like, that plot line could have been exactly the same. The storyline could have been exactly the same, but there could have been little changes to make these characters, mainly Abby's character, make her experience less traumatizing. And that's the thing about having marginalized people in these projects, is the thing about them that is their storyline is the thing about their identity that makes their life harder. I think a small change that would have actually helped, and it would not have changed the plot at all, it would not have changed, what that movie was about or anything like that, is that scene where Harper and Abby are in the car and they're on the way to Harper's parents' house, and Harper breaks the news, I'm not out, and they pull over. She could have very easily let Abby get out, catch a bus back home. Abby goes home, realizes, she's like, damn, I'm lonely. I'm up in this house. I'm by myself. It's the holidays. I'd rather be with my girl and be with her family and live through that than be here by myself. Because at that point, she would have been at Harper's place without being lied to, guilted, and pressured into being there. It would have been her choice. Yes, she still got lied to at the end of the day, but she made the decision to ultimately place herself into that environment. And it would not have changed how awful the treatment was, but knowing that it wasn't something that she was pushed into dealing with, and more so something that she knew was kind of ahead, takes a little bit of the cringe out of it. Just a little bit. I hate this idea that, you know, because there's such a scarcity in big budget LGBT, because there's a bunch of low budget. Oh, there's a bunch. But because there's a scarcity in these like big budget LGBTQIA plus films, queer films, I feel like there's this idea that I'm just supposed to take whatever, or that we are supposed to take whatever is just handed to us without criticism, without anything, and just be like, oh, thank you so much for making this movie for me. I very much appreciate it. But no, it kind of has the same effect of like when your dad is gone for most of your life, and then he shows up on your 17th birthday with an iPad and he's like, hey, I love you. It's just like, what? No. I think in 2021, there is space for those coming out projects and those like being closeted and having that whole experience be a part of, be the main focus of a project. I think that there's room for that. I also think that there's room for more complex characters. Basically, there's room in 2021 and beyond for LGBT projects that straight people won't understand. And so I think that we are in a place now where we can just create movies that are very queer, that are not in any way aligning with a heteronormative lifestyle, and that's okay. Mainly because there are so many people in the world that are craving this types of content. And then number two, there are so many stories that can be told. So I think that we're in a place where we can have those more complex characters, there's more complex storylines that go beyond coming out and, you know, kind of the coming of age portion of a queer person's story. Not to say that there isn't room for it, because there absolutely is, and I think that those pieces need to stay there based off of the fact that there are people that resonate with that stuff. There are people who are younger who need those types of stories. I think that they should stay. I think that they should also be alongside other varying complex projects. I'm not someone who looks for representation in LGBT films, mainly because I very seldom feel that or see that for myself or recognize it in these pieces. I feel most of any type of representation from just Black films, to be honest with you. I feel more representation from Living Single than literally anything I've ever watched. So I'm not someone who was like waiting with bated breath for the next, you know, queer Frozen. Like I'm really not. But I would just like to see a consideration for these characters, for these storylines that actually care about the community that they are trying to represent. But I think that there definitely is a way, which is why I say to be responsible about it, even if it's not good. That's my video. That's what I have to say. I was all over the place, but you get the picture. More of these like Think Piece Thursday videos. I don't know what these are gonna be called. I just pulled that out of my ass. But more of these videos coming in the future. Leave topics that you would like for me to discuss down below. And you know, we can get into those. See y'all soon in another video. Bye, girl.